Hello everyone, it's EZScape, and welcome to the theoretical longest speedruns. It's been almost 4 years since EZScape covered the top 10 longest speedruns, and today, I'll be covering even longer speedruns that would not only require hundreds, but thousands of hours of playtime. The longer speedruns in this video are based on segmented time, not real time, so you'll be in for a treat by the time we get to number 1. I don't want to spoil anything, so let's get right into the video, and I hope you all enjoy. First up is a true 100% run of Perfect Dark. On the Xbox Live Arcade version of the game, the normal 100% world record time is 2 hours and 4 minutes by Endeavor Gaming, and in this run, a player is required to complete the game on the Perfect Agent difficulty, unlock all cheats, and beat the duel. The Xbox Live Arcade version is faster than N64, but this gives us an approximation of how long this segment would take. The greatest portion of a true 100% run would be to get the perfect rank in Combat Simulator, which takes 300 hours, and this is because the game forces you to play this long as a requirement towards perfect rank. In order to achieve this rank during that time, a player would need to accumulate 18,000 kills, use 450,000 rounds of ammo, win 900 games, run a total of 9,000 kilometers, and more. It's reasonable that if you were to play at max efficiency, you could complete every single requirement before the time-gated requirement. Another large portion of the run would be spent completing all single-player challenges, and then completing them again in 2, 3, and 4-player mode, since the game keeps track of this. The current world record for all single-player challenges is 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 51 seconds by Big Boss Man. We can just assume it would take a player this amount of time at minimum for co-op challenges, so if you multiply Big Boss Man's time by 4, we get slightly above 6 hours for this section. However, this can all be done in 0 time in Combat Simulator, since these are Combat Simulator challenges. The rest of the run then requires a player to complete all device challenges and holo training challenges, but this would only take 6 minutes, so at least this is the easy part. So if we add up everything in total, this entire run would take a minimum of 302 hours. Before we continue, I'd like to announce once again that EZScape and I have partnered with Feeding America to help support COVID relief. For every $1,500 we raise, we will be creating speedrunning competitions over on EZScape's second channel. The 2 new incentives that I am announcing today are the Captain Falcon SM64 ROM hack and softlock percent from the Gen 1 Pokemon games. If each and every one of you donated just $1, we would absolutely smash our goal. There will be a donation link in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you. The second entry is going to be a quick refresher, and it's the 100% run of Bot and Kaidos. This speedrun isn't quite theoretical since there is a run on the leaderboards, but it's still the longest completed speedrun of all time, so I chose to still include it. To clarify once again, the reason this speedrun is so long is because of an item called the Shampoo, which takes 2 weeks or 336 hours to evolve, meaning that it's impossible for this run to be beaten in any less time than that. The reason why this speedrun takes even longer is because items pause evolving while at menu, so you want to have quick menuing throughout the run. In addition, the game's final bosses need to be defeated, meaning a run will take a minimum of 338 hours. Boffin currently has the world record with a time of 339 hours, 17 minutes, and 19 seconds. What's more interesting about this speedrun is that Boffin's Twitch account was temporarily banned for 24 hours due to non-gaming content since he left the game idling all night as he slept. In 2016, Twitch had different policies towards being AFK, mostly because there were no IRL categories at the time. Boffin did a new run attempt in September of 2019, which died at day 5 because of a mistake, but as long as he put not playing on his dashboard while he was idling, there were no issues. Next up is the All Achievements run of Europa Universalis 4, which would take at minimum 600 hours. What's interesting about this game is that it's limited by an in-game timer, so you cannot be sure that each achievement will be reached before the end of time. It starts on November 11th, 1444, incrementing 1 day at a time, and ends on January 2nd, 1821. Your game will just end here no matter how the world looks, so there will probably be a lot of resets during some of the harder segments. The gameplay consists of taking control of one nation and commanding its army, navy, and all diplomatic actions. From there on, the future of your nation is up to you, for the most part. At first glance, this game looks incredibly complex and challenging. A runner of the game, Mikelmar, shared with me that he played the game for more than 1,500 hours before he managed to do his first world conquest. Paradox Studios have ranked the achievements for this game from very easy to insane, but this is ranked purely by difficulty, not by time to complete. There's a total of 310, which means each achievement takes about 2 hours on average, but of course, some are significantly longer than others. Some of the lengthy ones include the 3 mountains, which requires you to conquer the world by starting as the nation of Ryukyu. The Achievement 1 Faith requires you to have all non-wasteland land provinces in the world be of your religion, and the Great Khan requires you to start as Mongolia or Great Horde and own the Chinese, Russian, and Persian regions. These alone can take anywhere from 15 to 20 hours each. As for the hardest achievements in a speedrun sense, it would be Eat Your Greens and True Heir of Timur, since they have very strict in-game timer-based cutoffs, so you have to find the perfect balance of optimized and fast gameplay. Also, if you were to do an all-achievement run, it has to be on Ironman, which means that you can't use console commands to cheat, you can't use mods, and your game will overwrite your current save every 3 months. So you can't save before a war and just load your save file if it went badly. So for those up to the challenge, Mikomar wrote a 61-page route for this run, and I'll link it in the description. Even if you have zero interest in running the game, I'd still recommend just looking at it to see the sheer amount of routing and detail. Next up is a 100% run of Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, and it's estimated to be at least 610 hours long. 50 of these hours would actually be spent by playing a different Harvest Moon game, A Wonderful Life. In this game, there are 49 tasks to do, such as befriending people, fishing, gaining a certain amount of money, and so on. For each of these 49 tasks, you have to connect A Wonderful Life to Friends of Mineral Town with the Game Boy Advance to GameCube Link cable and throw an item to the goddess on Friends of Mineral Town. If you connect 49 times after meeting the requirements on A Wonderful Life, the goddess will give you a seaside cottage, which is a requirement for this run. Another 40 hours would be spent catching all fish, obtaining all the tools, obtaining all the recipes and power berries, unlocking the mountain cottage, and much more. The remaining 520 hours is to earn 100 million gold, which is the exact amount to purchase the townhouse. Based on calculations, the best way to earn this much gold is purely by betting on horse races, which are held on the 18th of spring and fall every year. When betting on them, you'll spend around 16k gold each year for medals, which you use to buy brooches. They sell for 2k each, and on average, this earns about a net profit of 135,869 gold per year. So to unlock the townhouse, 736 years of time will need to progress in-game. If you run the game on Wii U Virtual Console, which provides for the fastest load times, the horse races take about 18 minutes of real time to complete, and in order to get to the next year as quickly as possible, you will need to sleep in-game for about 24 minutes and 20 seconds real time. This means that about 236 hours are spent betting on horse races, and 284 hours are spent sleeping. Imagine finally retiring in a townhouse at the ripe age of over 736 years old. This list wouldn't be complete if there wasn't an Animal Crossing game on here, so up next is a 100% run of Animal Crossing New Leaf. The first hurdle in this run would be to pay off all debts, which relies on a glitch only present in version 1.0 of the Japanese release of this game. The current standing world record for this is 1 hour and 32 minutes, but the glitch setup is inconsistent and can vary wildly. The next part of the run would be to complete the museum, which requires a runner to get every single fish, bug, fossil, and crazy red painting. Like other Animal Crossing games, the fish and bugs are tied to the in-game days, seasons, and weather, so on average, it's said that this alone would take around 11 hours, which also accounts for the purely RNG fish, bugs, fossils, and paintings. The next achievement would be all shop upgrades, with the first one being the Nook upgrade. This requires a runner to pay off the first debt, spending 12,000 bells or obtaining 15 items from the shop, letting 10 days pass, spending 25,000 bells and letting another 10 days pass, spending 50,000 bells and letting 21 days pass, then finally spending 100,000 bells and letting 30 days pass. After this, you would need to pass Gracie's fashion check, where you have to put together an outfit based on a theme, a total of 4 times. In addition to this, upgrading the Able Sisters fashion shop, the fortune teller shop, and Roost Cafe would likely take around 2 to 3 hours. The next achievement would be to obtain all furniture. On the GameCube version of Animal Crossing, you're able to use the secret code system to effectively obtain all the items. This isn't an option in New Leaf, which means a runner would have to obtain the final Nook shop upgrade, giving them access to the greatest amount of items per day. A runner would then have to constantly time travel to refresh the shop and hope that new items they haven't yet obtained are available. Since most categories disallow multiplayer, the only way to complete this would be to flat out brute force it. It's thought that all furniture could take a player anywhere from 55 to 80 hours. So far, we're at about a minimum of 95 hours for the run, but the final challenge is to add on a minimum of 500 hours because of the gold badge that requires 500 hours playtime. All gold badges would be the final challenge of this run, and if we assume a runner had a blistering pace, all gold badges could be obtained before the 500 hour time gated one. For all my Desert Bus fans out there, we have 99 playthroughs or max %, which would take a player roughly 792 hours to complete. According to a task videos post back in 2009, the maximum number of points you can get is 99, and you get 1 point by driving a bus from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada in real time at a maximum speed of 45 miles per hour. Once this is completed, a player will get an option to make the return trip to Tucson for another point, and this decision must be made within a few seconds or else the game ends. Each trip takes about 8 hours, and it's impossible to tape down a button to go do something else and have the game end properly. If the bus veers off the road, it will stall and be towed back to Tucson, also in real time. There is also no pausing whatsoever, so you're forced to babysit the game indefinitely, which means that it would be impossible for a single player to achieve a score of 99 because you would be required to stay up for 792 hours straight. To put this in perspective, the world record for the longest time awake without the use of drugs is 264.4 hours, held by Randy Gardner, which was set back in 1964. Imagine he played this game back then, he would have only been 1/3 into the run. Also, the online charity gaming marathon called Desert Bus for Hope, where volunteers pilot the game based on the amount of donations, is still popular more than ever. Their most recent event, held in 2019, raised a record-breaking $864,415, and the volunteers bussed for 162 hours. Next up is Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, which is an expansion of the original Monster Hunter Freedom 2 and has more missions, equipment, and of course, monsters. A 100% run of the game is completing all quests, unlocking all awards and titles, and collecting all max level armor and weapons. The speedrunning community for this game has agreed that all 406 quests in the game would take roughly 200 hours, but for everything else on top of that would take an additional 700 hours, so at least 900 in total. Most quests in the game can be completed anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes each, but most of the time in the run would be spent farming for better equipment, with item drops for equipment being RNG. With the high level weapons and armor, the plate and gem drops needed to craft them can be as low as a 2% chance to acquire. There are also gathering quests that are solely RNG, so with overall luck taken into account, the 200-hour benchmark for questing seems accurate. As for weapons specifically, upgrading them can be visualized as a tree. If we take specifically bows for example, there's one called Wild Bow 1. If you upgrade it 7 times, you get the Jungle Bow 2, which would be the most powerful bow out of the Wild Bow series. This process is required for tons of other weapons such as great swords, long swords, and hammers to name a few. The highest level armor in the game is G level, and this is subdivided between Blade Master and Gunner, which basically means melee and ranged armor respectively. The highest rarity is tier 10, and just like weapons, there are a lot of them. Awards take a fair bit of time, and on paper, the gold medal achievement is one of the longest to grind since it requires you to complete all of the 6 to 8 star rated quests. Collecting monster crowns, which are given for defeating the smallest size and largest size of a specific monster, would theoretically take longer because the sizes that a monster spawns at is RNG. You can collect these throughout the speedrun, but if the RNG is bad, there might be a long grind ahead of you. As for titles, there are over 400 to unlock, which range from slaying a certain amount of specific creatures to earning 1 million guild points. To put everything into perspective, there is a video that was posted back in 2011 of a player showing off their 100% guild card. In the first few seconds of the video, we can see their playtime, which was almost 1200 hours. So in a segmented speedrun, this run could totally be completed in as little as 900. Next up is an all messages run from Super Smash Bros. Melee. There are 60 messages in the game which range from unlocking stages, characters, and game modes. But by far, the absolute Chad message to unlock is 1 million versus mode matches. I'm not kidding, this is hard-coded in the game. The quickest way to complete a single versus mode match is by playing on stamina mode as Falco and side B'ing into the death plane on the stage flat zone. The way to make this process even faster is by unlocking the random stage additional rule, which is done by unlocking all stages in the game. If you choose just flat zone to be played upon hitting start on the character screen, you'll skip the stage selection screen and therefore save a little bit of time between matches. At best, a single versus mode match takes roughly 6.12 seconds, and 1 million of these would take roughly 1700 hours. As for the other 59 messages in the game, the 250 trophies message would take the longest, but nowhere near the versus mode one. NCB1221 was the first person to complete an all trophies run in 61 hours, but he has since rerouted the category and the new estimation is about 24 hours. You'll essentially unlock every other message in the game by additionally completing a near all trophies run simultaneously, therefore bringing the total amount of hours to a minimum of 1,724. Now this is where time estimated can start taking massive leaps. This is a game called AntiIdol, and the run in question is to get level 9001, complete all 666 achievements, and get S rank in every quest. The core gameplay is a hub game with 3 currencies of varying difficulty to obtain, and sub-games based around popular game tropes that reward you currency back in the hub game. Here we have the button machine, and all you do is click it. It rewards regular coins, which can be used to purchase features such as the arcade or the fishing minigame. Or there's the stadium, where you compete in races which additionally reward green and blue coins, which are used to purchase upgrades and items in the mystery shop respectively. You can ascend when you hit over level 9000 in the hub game, and there are varying difficulties unlocked when you start prestiging with the ascensions. The real difficulty in the run would undoubtedly be the S ranks in every quest. Some S ranks require physical challenge and the ability to master arcade games like a Minesweeper clone and Pong. Others require immense amounts of time and active gameplay to complete the fastest way, for example, defeating each of the 500 monsters in the battle arena 10,000 times for a level 2000 bestiary and taming each of those monsters as allies. A full completion would also ascend 1000 times. TI-Kevin83 worked with some core AntiIdol players to estimate that these battle arena tasks would take a minimum 1100 hours, and he's played the rest of the game to know that the various other requirements could easily take another 1000 hours, bringing the total time of this speedrun to at least 2100 hours. For an even harder challenge, the bestiary can go an additional 1000 levels to 3000, with closer to 10,000 hours of play, and a player named PhantomWolf13 is known to have actually played for more than a year to grind out this potential category. For this next entry, I'm nowhere near qualified to talk about this, so Settled, take it away.
The next speedrun on this list is obtaining a max cape on the Ultimate Ironman game mode in old school RuneScape. In late 2018, I completed my 7,000 hour journey to achieve just that. For those unfamiliar, a max cape is earned by reaching level 99 in all 23 skills. To put this in perspective, a player could do this efficiently in less than 2200 hours on a normal, unrestricted account. There's a few ways to restrict and challenge yourself in the game, and that's by choosing to play as an Ironman. A regular Ironman is not allowed to trade other players, but Ultimate Ironman, additionally, can't use the banks in the game. The challenge of this game mode is to progress your account while only using the 28 spaces provided in your inventory, whereas a bank has over 800. However, there are some ways around this, such as using a looting bag or death abusing certain bosses for additional storage. With this disadvantage, a majority of the 23 skills are suddenly completely changed from how they're usually trained. Just to put one skill in perspective, let's take Herblore, which is by far the most challenging to achieve level 99 in. A normal account could achieve level 99 Herblore in under 40 hours, given that the player has enough gold to fund the skill beforehand. But in this game mode, you're basically training Herblore from your first breath to your funeral bed. Since you're not able to buy necessary herbs and secondary ingredients, you have to collect them all yourself, with limited space. It's almost impossible to calculate how long this skill truly takes. Even though most of it can be passively trained through farming, a majority of Ultimate Ironman don't finish the skill until they're very close to maxing. Earlier this year, one of the Jagex moderators tweeted an image that shows the fastest times to achieve max total in every game mode on RuneScape, and they can be thought of as the current records. The fastest ever unrestricted account to max all 23 skills took 89 days and 20 hours of playtime, while the fastest ever Ultimate Ironman took 206 days and 10 hours, just barely under the 5,000 hour mark, which is a record currently held by Hockey. Even though this challenge has been completed, it's still theoretical, since there hasn't been a person who has obtained a max cape while trying to do it in the most efficient way possible. Since the game is constantly evolving, the time it takes to max only decreases, and for a while it was thought that the absolute minimum playtime to max an ultimate is probably around 4,100 hours. But thanks to a few new in-game updates and method optimizations over time, the total might be less than 4,000 hours now. Just to put everything in perspective once again, this game mode came out on October 13th of 2014, nearly 6 years ago, and there are only 36 players in the world with a maxed account.
Thank you, Settled, and before we talk about the number 1 entry on this list, I'd like to give out an honorable mention. The honorable mention for today's video is the 100% no B-spec speedrun of Gran Turismo 4. A run such as this had never been attempted, but a group of 4 friends successfully completed it on April 7th of this year. This speedrun involves completing every license test, race, and driving mission without using B-spec, a mode where the player coaches an AI-controlled driver while it races on their behalf. If you want to 100% the game without having to drive for hours at a time, you can put your B-spec driver in an overpowered car and just leave your console on. This is useful since there are 3 24-hour races in the game, so you can either do it on your own and pause to take breaks, or use B-spec, which is what I would see most players doing. So with a group of 4 people to tag in and out, it wasn't uncommon to see one person at the wheel for many hours at a time, and when I say at the wheel, I literally mean at the wheel. There's actually a Pastebin FAQ that the runners made which describes the reason for doing this, which states, "We're dumb, we're quarantined for 3 weeks, nobody has ever completed this category before, let alone routed it, and we figured we might as well be the first, and we're all racing game fans, and they say run the games you love, right?" This game was all over the speedruns subreddit, and for good reason. It's one of the most interesting speedruns. This speedrun clocked in at a time of 230 hours, 35 minutes, and 51 seconds. I'd like to congratulate the runners Tyler, Sean, Jonah, and Paul. You guys are legends. The final entry for today is a true 100% run of Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. In a standard 100% run, a runner must obtain 689 out of the 722 cards in the game. There was actually a new 100% world record that was set on May 23rd with a time of 72 hours and 34 minutes. So the question is, how come the other 33 cards aren't obtained in the run? To start off, there are 2 cards that are impossible to obtain on the non-Japanese version of the game, Dark Magic Ritual and Magician of Black Chaos. However, if you play in the Japanese version of Forbidden Memories with a Pocket Station, you can obtain these 2 cards. Yet again, another weird version difference between NTSC and JP. Now as for the other 31 cards, it would be absolutely insane to obtain these without cheating. Most of these cards require 999,999 star chips to purchase, but 3 of those 31 cards have special exceptions. A good example would be the card Chakra. This card itself is unobtainable, but you can buy the cards you need in order to ritual summon it, so therefore Chakra technically does become obtainable if you have max star chips, just not directly purchasable. The other 2 cards are Javelin Beetle and Harpy Lady Sisters. Javelin Beetle can be ritual summoned, and Harpy Lady Sisters can be obtained through fusing Harpy Lady, another max star chip card. Technically you can buy Harpy Lady Sisters for max star chips, but since the game will keep track of this card if it's fusion summoned, there's no need to purchase it. Therefore, a total of 28 cards would need to be purchased from the shop for max star chips in a true 100% run. The fastest way to obtain this many star chips would be to achieve S rank on duels, with each duel awarding 5 star chips. If we do some quick math, this means that 200,000 duels would need to be completed to purchase 1 card. On average, 1 duel takes around 1 minute to complete, so to purchase 1 card, it would take around 3,333 hours. But let's say we break the rules of the standard 100% run and allow for memory card duplication and trading. You would be able to effectively purchase all 28 cards with 1 set of max star chips. If this is done, a true 100% run with trading would take at minimum 3,400 hours. But let's say we go balls to the wall and don't allow for duplication or trading. Let's take 3,333 hours and multiply that by 28 cards. Also, let's add in the time of 72 hours for standard 100%, and we get a whopping total of 93,396 hours. This would take a player 3,891.5 days, segmented time of course. Let's say you want to spend the rest of your life trying to do this legitimately, and you dedicate 8 hours of your life every day to grinding duels. Since there are 24 hours in a day, the RTA time would be triple the segmented time. If a person did this, it would take them a total of 31.98 years real time. I'll see you guys when I'm 55 years old. Alright, this marks the end of the video, and if you enjoyed it, leave a like on it, it helps us reach recommended. With an ambitious project like this, I want to give a big thank you to everyone that provided me with information for each of these games. They're all listed in the description. I imagine that there are even more theoretical speedruns that I might have missed, and if you know of any, leave them down in the comment section. This list wasn't limited to the ones featured, and I would totally be down to make a part 2 if you guys would like to see it. If you're enjoying the content EZScape and I put out, subscribe to the channel for more speedrunning related content. That's it from me today, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.